A little girl, soaked from the rain, stepped through the door of Red Jack's diner and whispered two words that stopped every biker cold. "Excuse me. I haven't eaten in 2 days." No one expected what happened next. But that afternoon the noise died. Because a 7-year-old girl stood in the doorway, drenched and shaking, and asked hardened men for help she didn't think she deserved. Before we go on, tell me where you're watching from, and if this touches your heart, feel free to subscribe for more stories like this. The bikers froze. Forks stopped mid-air. Conversations ended. All eyes turned toward the little girl standing just inside the door. Her dress was soaked through. Her hair stuck to her forehead. Her shoelaces dragged on the floor. She was holding her stomach with both arms, like she was trying to keep herself from falling apart. She looked at them, terrified but desperate. I haven't eaten in 2 days, she whispered. Her voice cracked. Her knees wobbled as she fell to the ground. And then she started to cry, silent tears that didn't make a sound. Jax, the MC president, stood up slowly. He was a big man, covered in tattoos, with a voice that could shake a room. But right now he moved like he was afraid to scare her. He knelt down beside her. "Hey," he said softly. "What's your name?" "Maya," she whispered. "Where's your mama, Maya?" Maya's eyes dropped to the floor. "She's sick. Real sick. I tried to get food but..." She pointed outside. Through the window, the bikers saw a rusted shopping cart filled with blankets. Someone had been sleeping in it. It was her sick mother. Jax's chest tightened. "How long you been out there, sweetheart?" "A few days," she said quietly. "I walked from the edge of town. A man at a gas station yelled at me because I asked him for some food. Someone else threw a cup of coffee on my face because I asked him for some money. But I kept walking because I remembered seeing bikers once. And I thought maybe you were the kind of men who don't lie." The room went silent. One of the bikers, a man named Trent, stood up and walked to the counter. He ordered a plate of food, eggs, toast, bacon, everything warm. He brought it to Maya and set it down gently. "Eat slow, okay?" he said. Maya nodded and took a small bite. Then another. But when she sat down, she winced. "Art." Jax noticed it. So did the others. "Maya," Jax said carefully. "Can I see your side?" She hesitated. Then she lifted her arm. Bruises. Dark, deep bruises running along her ribs. The bikers exchanged looks. They all knew what bruises like that meant. "If it were you, what would you do?" Maya spoke quietly between bites. "My mama's been in bed almost a week. No food. No heat. The landlord keeps banging on the door saying we'll be kicked out by Friday. And there's a man, he checks on us at night. When he thinks nobody's watching." Jax clenched his jaw. He pulled out his phone and called social services. Then the sheriff. He waited. The calls went nowhere. The system shrugged. But the bikers didn't. Jax stood up and wrapped his leather jacket around Maya's shoulders. "Come on, sweetheart," he said gently. "We're gonna go check on your mama." The other bikers followed him outside, engines rumbling to life one by one. They didn't know exactly what they were walking into. Only that a starving child had walked into their space, trusting them more than anyone else. And that was enough. Maya sat in the front seat of Jax's truck, quiet and still, like she was afraid to believe this was real. Behind them, a line of motorcycles followed, headlights cutting through the rain. They pulled up to a broken-down apartment building on the edge of town. The windows were boarded. The front steps were cracked. Maya pointed to a door on the second floor. Jax carried her up the stairs. The other bikers stayed close. When they reached the door, Maya knocked softly. "Mama? It's me." A weak voice answered from inside. "Maya?" Jax pushed the door open. The apartment was freezing. No heat. No light except a single candle burning on the floor. And in the corner, on a thin mattress, lay Maya's mother, pale, shaking, barely conscious. She looked up and saw the bikers. Fear flashed in her eyes. "It's okay," Jax said gently. "We're here to help." Maya rushed to her mother's side. Her mother tried to sit up, but she was too weak. "Maya, I told you not to go out in the rain," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry." One of the bikers, a medic named Sam, knelt beside her and checked her pulse. "She's burning up. Fever's real bad. We need to get her to a hospital." Jax nodded and pulled out his phone to call an ambulance. Trent came back from the truck carrying the leftover food from the diner. He handed it to Maya's mother. "Here. You need to eat." She looked at the plate, then at Maya. She tried to push it toward her daughter. "No, give it to her. She needs it more." "Mama, I already ate," Maya said softly. Her mother's eyes filled with tears. You did. Maya nodded. Her mother covered her face with her hands and cried, quiet, broken sobs that she'd been holding in for too long. While they waited, the bikers searched the apartment. No food in the fridge. No medicine in the cabinet. Just cold air and emptiness. Then they heard footsteps in the hallway. A man appeared in the doorway, mid-40s, greasy hair, eyes sharp and mean. He looked at the bikers and sneered. Who the hell are you? He said. Jack stood up slowly. We're friends of Maya's. The man laughed. Friends? That little brat doesn't have friends. Maya grabbed Jax's hand and whispered, That's him. The man I told you about. Jax's jaw tightened. He stepped forward, calm and steady. You need to leave. Now. The man didn't move. This is my building. I'll do what I want. Jax didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. The police are on their way. You can leave now, or you can explain to them why a 7-year-old girl has bruises all over her body. The man's face went pale. He looked at the line of bikers standing behind Jax, arms crossed, faces hard, and he turned and ran. The ambulance arrived minutes later. Maya's mother was taken to the hospital. The bikers paid for everything. The treatment, the medicine, a safe place for them to stay while she recovered. Maya stood in the hospital hallway watching her mother sleep through the window. She looked so small. So tired. Jax knelt down beside her. Your mama's gonna be okay, he said softly. And nobody's gonna hurt you again. You understand? Maya nodded, tears streaming down her face. Why did you help us? Jax smiled, gentle and sad. Because a long time ago I was a scared kid too. And someone helped me. Now it's my turn. Maya's small voice broke the silence. Can you stay? You make me feel safe. Jax's chest tightened. He looked at the other bikers. They nodded. Yes, sweetheart, he said. We'll stay. He pulled out a card with his number on it. And if you ever need anything at all, you call me. Okay. Maya hugged him tight. Thank you, she whispered. 3 months later, Maya and her mother moved into a new apartment, paid for by the Iron Wolves. The bikers checked in every week. They brought groceries, fixed things that were broken, made sure they were safe. Maya started school again. She made friends. She laughed. And every time the bikers came by, she ran to the door with a smile that could light up the whole room. One afternoon, Maya drew a picture and handed it to Jax. It showed a little girl holding hands with a group of men on motorcycles. At the top, in crayon, it said, My family. Jax stared at it for a long moment. Then he folded it carefully and put it in his wallet. Because sometimes the world is cold and cruel and full of people who look the other way. But sometimes a little girl walks into a diner full of strangers. And they become the family she always needed.